Okay. All right. The recording is being started and the meeting will start in about another moment or two. And again, we're setting this up so that the persons visible will be the current board members, the current executive committee members, and everyone else is asked to turn off their video and pause their voice until they're asked to make a presentation. Hey, Bill. All right, it's 8 o'clock, so we're ready to start the meeting. This is the annual nominating meeting of the People's Caucus of Briarcliff Manor for the year 2022. And we have members of the Board of Trustees, members of the Caucus Executive Committee, who are all hoping to be visible, and we will have some additional nominees as we go along. I want to thank everybody for attending and ask your indulgence for my slip-ups. I've been in the hospital for about a week and I'm home for the first day, doing a lot better. Hopefully we'll be fully recovered soon. But until then, whatever screw-ups I do, you'll forgive. The process for tonight's meeting would be first to thank everybody, to remind everybody that this is the first of a series of meetings. The nominating meeting, which will be followed next Wednesday by the Meet the Candidates debate meeting, and ultimately the following Wednesday, the 26th, by a special voting meeting. We are trying to make arrangements to do it in a hybrid format, but that will be determined as we go forward. And at this point, I would like to acknowledge the Board of Trustees. I'm not seeing everybody's views, so Steve, if you're on, could you turn on your video? Is Kevin Hunt on?
I
There you
am.
go. Sabina?
Good evening, everyone.
Ned Midgley? No. Deputy Mayor Chatsky? Mayor Vesio?
I saw Vesio, he should be here.
Thought I saw him too. Ask Steve to unmute. All right, I think we will move this forward. Steve, if for some reason you're not visible, I don't see you. And Deputy Mayor Chatsky, I don't see you either. But hopefully you're on. Okay. So we'll start by moving forward by opening the nominations for the office of village trustee. There are two positions for trustee. Kevin Hunt is an incumbent trustee who has decided to submit again to run for the following year. And we have at least 2 new candidates, the village trustee, Rhea Mallett, and Jeffrey Allen. If you're all on, please turn on your videos and you can open your sound. All right, so let's start with the nominations. Kevin, do you have a nominee? Someone to nominate you?
I do have someone to nominate me. I have
And-
Tony Carlick, who's, I believe, is present.
Okay,
I would like to nominate Kevin Hunt for another term as village trustee. I would like it to be known that I've known Kevin for over 16 years. I've served with him on the fire department as well as the ambulance. I've seen him work unbelievably. He's committed. He is a true servant of our community. He's the person that I learned a lot from. One, his commitment to our village. He's willing to sacrifice and dedicate his time to helping others that live in Briarcliff Manor. He is willing to sit on boards, committees, and chair various different things that have been needed to be chaired and overseen. He's a person that has continued to have a desire to serve our community, not just on the fire department or on the ambulance, but to be able to be a trustee and also be available. That's one thing you can say about Kevin. He makes himself available and his ears are open to the community. And a couple other things I just want to share quickly. One, the one thing I know about him, and this is personally, he's honest, he's loyal, sometimes funny, but for the most part, a wonderful father and a really great husband, a great friend to all who know him. And I would hope more people in Briarcliff would know him, because I truly, truly, with all my heart, I support and honor being able to nominate Kevin for another term as village trustee.
thank you, Anthony. Kevin, I believe this is your 4th term serving.
It would be my 3rd term.
Sorry. I know you've been here a long time.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Aaron.
Well, I'm getting old, so I screw these things up. You know that very well. And Sabina Werner, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Sabina, I want to thank you very much on behalf of the caucus for your service. We understand that you have determined that you're not going to seek re-election. We appreciate the time you've put in and the efforts and the job you've done. And you have the thanks of myself as chair and the members of the caucus executive committee and all of the members of the caucus as well. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's been such a privilege working with the village departments and with the community during the past couple of years. I had the best time. So thanks so much.
I haven't seen Peter Chatsky, so he'll forgive me. We must have screwed up sending out the links. But anyway, we'll thank him for his service as well and move on to the next nomination. Rhea, is your nominee Barry available?
I think he's here. Barry, are you
Okay.
here?
All right, we
Stand
see you
there.
now and you're unmuted. So you can go ahead and make a 3-minute nominating speech, please.
Good evening, and thank you. I have been a resident of Briarcliff since 1968, but this is the first time I've nominated a candidate for the village board, even though I vividly recall the campaigns and speeches of candidates running for the board some 50 years ago. The hot July day I moved to Briarcliff, barely able to afford the $225 monthly mortgage and tax payment, my neighbor, Bill Sharman, said hello and handed me an application for the fire department. I joined the engine company a few months later and enjoyed the experience and friendships. 6 years ago, when Rhea Mallett moved to Briarcliff and became my neighbor, she was the one handing me a petition for a local cause even as she unpacked her boxes. Rhea gets involved, not just superficially. She wants to make her community a better place to live. She involves her family too. It was fun helping her son Max and his team with his Eagle Scout project, building picnic tables for Abbott House in Dobbs Ferry, one of Rhea's long-term causes. After graduating at the top of her class at Amherst, she got a law degree at Columbia and worked for a New York firm. Later, she was a staff attorney for the city's Legal Aid Society, founded a coalition to help women in the criminal justice system, and taught at Fordham Law School. Rhea was an executive director in New York City's office of the mayor. Right now, she is completing a master's degree in land use and environmental law at Pace University. This background could be invaluable to us. In Briarcliff, Rhea chaired the local census committee and served on the Police Reform Advisory Committee. She has helped orchestrate both state and local political campaigns. I was impressed at how she burrowed into details of proposed regulations on land use and offered advice to the current Board of Trustees as it revisited our wetlands laws. Rhea is aware of the impact of development, not just for the homeowner, but for adjacent and nearby properties. Our village has several major parcels of land that offer rare opportunities, but also potential impacts for our village, our schools, our infrastructure, and our natural environment. Briarcliff can certainly use Rhea's drive, her legal savvy, and her tenacity in coping with these challenges. Rhea can add a new dimension to the current Board of Trustees in facing myriad local issues. I strongly endorse my neighbor and friend, Rhea Mallett, for village trustee and urge you to vote for her. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bozak. You're one of the real old timers in our village, and we appreciate your involvement and staying at it. Rhea, do you have a second?
Yes, Opsy.
I
Karen here.
second. I love Ray. I think she's amazing. I
Okay,
second. Sorry, I think that's all I'm supposed to say.
thank you. I hadn't recognized you. I did get your name from Rhea, but I didn't recognize it on the screen, so my apologies.
Sorry, no worries. Thank you.
All right, we have one more candidate, Dr. Allen, and I believe Keith Austin is entering him in nomination.
No, actually, it's Joan Austin.
Joan, sorry,
Okay,
the prettier half.
thank you, Aaron. I'm flattered. I am honored to nominate Jeff Allen for the village board. I've known Jeff for many years and I have enormous respect for him. I believe he would be a fine addition to our village board. Jeff and his wife Mary Dale have lived in Briarcliff since 1979. They raised their family here. Their children are graduates of Briarcliff High School. Jeff is a medical doctor who retired this spring from a distinguished career in pediatric neuro-oncology. He is a graduate of Oberlin College and Harvard Medical School with extensive postdoctoral training. He has treated patients, done research, taught, and published widely. Jeff's participation in village matters has been limited due to the challenges of his work. Treating children with brain cancers is not a 9-to-5 proposition. But now Jeff has free time and is eager to apply his time and energy to village affairs. I knew Jeff casually, mostly as my friend Mary Dale's husband, until 1999, when our daughter was a patient of his. Then I saw the true measure of the man. I saw how calm he was during a life-threatening crisis. He listened carefully to learn as much as he could. Then he analyzed the situation and considered the possibilities. Jeff assembled a team of doctors to come up with a plan. It was clear from the start that he knew how to work collegially with other people. I noted too how respectful he was of everyone he worked with, be they professionals or the people cleaning the floors. He was always compassionate and kind to our daughter and to the rest of our family. He was endlessly patient. His dedication to healing in every sense was evident throughout. Jeff worked with the family of another patient to set up a foundation, making headway, which assists families facing neuro-oncological issues. The qualities I've seen in Jeff Allen would be useful in any organization. Calmness during a crisis, enormous intelligence and the ability to think analytically, the willingness to listen, good judgment, the capacity to work well with others, kindness, compassion, and patience. We are fortunate that Jeff wishes to serve on our village board. He represents no particular faction or agenda. He simply wants to help. Jeff has some interesting ideas about environmental issues, and I know he will apply himself to learning about other issues as they arrive and help the board to make wise decisions. Jeff Allen would make a wonderful village trustee. Our village would benefit from his election. Please give him one of your votes. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Your nominating speech is very welcomed. You are one of the long-term people who have served this village tremendously. Your husband Keith is the unofficial historian for the People's Caucus, excuse me. And the gentleman who got me involved. And I've done it for the last 12 years now. So I'm finishing up my 5th consecutive one-year term as chair for the 2nd time around. And instead of staying on and seeking the position of vice chair, I am stepping aside and opening it up for new persons to be nominated. And the caucus will designate their preferences after we finish the nominating speeches from the nominees. So we'll start it again with Mr. Hunt. Kevin?
Yes, so you want me to give my speech now? Is that what you're
You,
asking?
sir, yes. And if you'll remember to send me a copy of it for posting on our website.
Absolutely suitable for framing.
And Aaron, can't somebody second Jeffrey Allen? I second him if somebody else.
Oh, thank you
Supposed
very
to.
much, Bonnie. I forgot to
Bonnie
do.
LeVar seconds Jeffrey Allen. I've lived here exactly as long as he has with his kids, my kids, and Barack with him. He would be phenomenal. So
Thank you very much for
you're
patching
welcome.
me
I
in.
hope you feel better, you poor thing.
I'm getting much better. Thanks.
But take care.
You too. Okay, Kevin, sorry to interrupt. Go
No,
ahead.
not at all. Perfect. Thank you. Well, in the spirit of time, thank you to everybody for everything and making tonight happen. Thank you, particularly Aaron. Hope you feel better. And again, for Tony, I just want to tell you that I am very blessed. I have a wonderful, supportive family, degrees from Cornell University and Columbia Business School, a rich and rewarding career, and many, many others. One of the biggest blessings is Briarcliff Manor. My wife and I moved to Briarcliff in 1997 with 2 very small children and very demanding careers. We were both working very long hours, juggling childcare, traveling, and all the stuff a young professional couple deals with. Only 8 years after we moved here, I joined the Briarcliff Manor Fire Department, the same year my mother died. I've never felt at home anywhere before, and with a changed perspective, I wanted to really belong in the community. At my first fire department meeting, it was clear there was an immediate need for EMTs. I jumped right in, became an EMT, and made a couple of hundred EMS and fire calls my first year. I took firefighter 1 the following year and became an interior firefighter and a driver for Tower Ladder 40. It was a huge leap out of my comfort zone. Sane people do not run into fires. Now in my 17th year in the fire department, I've made a few thousand ambulance and fire calls to protect my neighbors and their homes. I served as captain of the ambulance for 8 years and was recognized as firefighter of the year in 2016. Although I've gotten as much, if not more, from the fire department as I've put into it, there has never been a convenient time to do it. It's not something that could be scheduled, but Briarcliff Manor is my home, and giving back for the many blessings in my life is my great joy and well worth every sacrifice. Fast forward to 2018, Mark Wilson, a trustee at the time and longtime fellow member of my church, approached me about running for village trustee. He convinced me that with my extensive professional background in marketing and strategic planning, Along with my longtime commitment to the village, I could add a great deal immediately in a very meaningful way. I talked to my wife and she was remarkably supportive. She knew it would take up a good deal of time, but she was also doubtful that the commitment would require leaving the house at 3 a.m. in a snowstorm. I ran for trustee. I ran again, and here I am for a third time to run once more. One of the truly great things about Briarcliff is the wealth of opportunities to get involved. Between the various boards and committees, there's an incredible range of commitments, short-term and long-term, bigger time commitments and lesser time commitments. There really is something for everyone. And this current board of trustees has gone out of its way to offer even more opportunities. Of course, I am very partial to the fire department and EMS. Being an actively contributing member of the current board makes me extremely proud. Each member of this board of trustees is incredibly smart and offers a complementary skill set with a rich background and supported community over a long period of time. I never get tired of engaging with residents and talking through issues. It's rare that I'm not thanked for the service of the board and an appreciation for the work that we've done. There's no question that it's a lot of work. We have differences of opinion. We do not always agree. But at the end of the day, all the hard work pays off, we get it done, and go on to address new issues. We have a lot to feel good about. We're tackling the thorny issues of the B zone, now CT zone properties, to maintain a business presence in the village. Now 3 of the 5 properties are occupied, and there's an application in the works for the 4th. We've hired a great new treasurer and a gifted village manager. We are actively engaged in residents and business owners to improve the Pleasantville Road Business District. Longtime water drainage issues with Tuttle Road down through Law Park have a solution well underway. An extensively wide body of village code has been addressed to bring the code up to date with sensible, lawful, and thoughtful revisions to improve daily life in the village, including everything from noise ordinances to solar energy. The Recreation Department has made huge strides in developing and improving the Briarcliff Trail Network, along with engaging residents in fun new events like cornhole and trivia tournaments, and along with the traditional year-round activities, of course, navigating the quagmire of the COVID pandemic. Things are pretty good in our village. This board has really gone to great lengths to address an incredibly wide array of tough and timely issues, with every member of the board contributing meaningfully and in a very short amount of time. I am incredibly proud of the work that's been done and really proud of this smart, committed, and resourceful group of incredible Briarcliff residents. I am very much looking forward to the opportunity to continue to serve as a trustee and continue with this good work. Your vote for me and the upcoming caucus election will really make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt, and we extended you an extra minute for your speech for all of your service. And you once again proved that you were right when you said it takes somebody who's insane to run into houses that are burning. But you've been doing it for years, and we thank you for it, as well as for your service on the board. At this stage, I'd like to invite Rhea Mallett to make her acceptance speech.
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rhea Mallett and super excited to be here tonight. Thank you to the members of the People's Caucus Executive Committee for all of their work continuing this nonpartisan process, which really keeps the issues and candidates focused on local concerns while engendering greater community collaboration. I want to thank Barry Bozak for nominating me and for such a warm introduction. And Opsi, thank you for your second. It was very lively and I appreciate it. You are both wonderful members of our community and I appreciate your participation tonight as well as your support. I am honored to be nominated as a candidate for the village trustee. You have already heard that I'm an attorney with a diverse legal background. While my work in New York City government might seem most applicable to the trustee position, I believe it is all of my legal experience working with a range of clients, government agencies, and politicians that provides the skills necessary to successfully serve as trustee. What I bring to the position is an understanding of the importance of listening, collaborating with others, working as a team, and advocating vigorously for residents. I would represent all residents, not just those from a particular school district, a certain neighborhood, age group, or special interest. And I would treat all residents the same, whether they are new to the community or have lived here for decades, because Briarcliff attracts a great variety of people, but we are all here for similar reasons. The sense of community, its incredible location, access to amazing outdoor recreation, and the schools. And everyone is entitled to a voice on the board. I would like to share some specific goals of my candidacy. First, I hope to continue and expand the level of transparency and communication that the current board has brought to the village these past few years. The board's responsiveness to residents has improved tremendously. However, we can still do more to reach out with a wider net to make sure all the voices of our community are heard, something I learned from my participation on village committees and in the community over the past few years. I saw a need to not only be responsive to residents and their concerns, but to be more proactive, to understand what matters most to all residents. As a trustee, I will provide greater outreach to the community to garner more ideas and suggestions. For example, I would elicit more community input for the Streetscapes program from both residents and local merchants, and even experts in revitalizing community spaces. Second, everyone knows there are incredible number of land use challenges and opportunities facing the Board of Trustees right now, including recently acquired large tracts of land, large commercial properties, and a once-in-a-lifetime downtown improvement plan. I will apply my land use expertise to ensure that any uses and growth abides by our village laws, our comprehensive plan, and just as importantly, that the conditions of use are enforced in order that future development protects neighboring properties, natural resources, the public, and our schools. Finally, and most importantly, I'm running for village trustee because I love Briarcliff and I want to contribute where I believe I can be most impactful to keep what we all have. Volunteering is a defining characteristic of our community. We are one of the few remaining villages with an all-volunteer, nonpartisan government, an all-volunteer fire department and ambulance corps. We have hundreds of volunteers yearly making up local committees, helping in the schools, and coaching our sports teams. We have abundant opportunities for families with school-age children and for those whose children already have children of their own. We are a village for all generations. I am friends with people of all ages and want to keep Briarcliff the village that attracts both new families while keeping people here past retirement age. This means we also have to look at taxes. And that is, for example, whether Briarcliff homeowners are receiving fair tax treatment from the town of Austening's tax assessor. As a village trustee, I will work to make sure that future growth is smart growth, sustainable, school-friendly, and protects the open space and public trails that we all enjoy. I hope everyone watching and listening will support me as village trustee. I look forward to further discussion at next Wednesday's Meet the Candidates night. And if anyone has questions or wants to speak with me further, please reach out and email me at rayamalletVBM for Village of Briarcliff Manor @gmail.com. So rayamalletVBM@gmail.com. Thanks so much for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Rhea. We appreciate it. And at this stage, we'll open the nominations for Dr. Jeffrey Allen and move forward. Jeff?
Aaron, I'll give my brief presentation. Thank you, Joan, for giving such a thorough and supportive review of our lives here in Briarcliff and my career and my career goals. You probably said it better than I could. So my remarks will be brief. We have lived and benefited from the resources of this community for 43 years. Our kids went to school here, graduated, went to professional schools, and they're launched in their life's paths. And we're very grateful for that. And my wife and I have enjoyed so many of the recreational facilities and the good cheer and made so many good friends and have chosen this community to probably live our lives out to the end. So I have always vowed that when I could retire,
that I would try to basically return a sense of gratitude to this community for keeping it going when I couldn't help. And that was during this career involving the care of very sick kids and being on call 24/7. So I think it would be a novel situation for a physician to be a member of the board. I don't believe that a physician has served in this capacity, certainly not in the recent times. And I would have a unique perspective. I have had administrative skill, but and experience running various programs in medical centers and working with hospital administration, which I think has very many similarities to what our board in the village has to deal with. So I've been on in a steep learning situation when I got interested in running for a trustee position, and I've familiarized myself with the deliberations about the renovations in the central business district, the considerations going on now with the new tenants of the former Pace property and the best use of the commercial properties for sale. And I think eventually when these are resolved, I would like to recommend consideration of a number of issues that could impact the safety and the health and the mental and the physical health of our residents. And I would like to elaborate on those issues next week when we have a Q&A session, and I will be more specific. I very much respect, Kevin, your service here for the past few years, and Rhea for volunteering as well. So I think the citizens of Briarcliff are very fortunate to have such qualified choices. And I'm just throwing my hat in the ring for a diverse option. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. I appreciate it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't throw in an anecdote of my own. Around the year 2000, when my father was suffering from a brain tumor, you were very helpful in providing some advice and guidance. It's very much remembered and appreciated. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. All right. Be well.
Okay, thanks. All right, at this stage, I'm going to fix a mistake that I've made. We have to present a treasurer's report. So Zachary, if you're available and can share your screen to make the treasurer's report.
Sure, thanks, Aaron. Hold on, I'm just going to briefly share my screen here. Oh, it appears as though screen sharing is disabled for this Zoom.
And let me see if I have it. There we go.
Oh, all right, perfect. So briefly, I'm not going to bore anybody with the details of the finances of the People's Caucus, but last election cycle and this election cycle appears to be that our donations have been up in prior years. That's great, based upon the fact that in prior years we were really kind of scrambling for any type of donations that we could get. We appear to be on to meet our goals of approximately $2,500 to $3,000 in donations for the year. Currently, we're at $1,600. Both the last election cycle, 2021, and this year's election cycle, 2022, we'll probably have lower expenses based upon the fact that we're holding these meetings virtually, which really reduces the costs of these elections. God willing, 2023 will be in person again, and the though we'll have higher expenses, we'll have a little more freedoms. But we anticipate that maybe this year our expenses will be a little higher based upon the fact that Gazette ads may be higher than they had been in the past. Overall, we're assuming that our costs will be somewhere in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, which is on par with previous years, maybe a little lower because last year was lower based upon the fact that we don't have to pay for recording fees. And our mailings have been emailed rather than actual postage. Other than that, there's no real news to report. If we could just go to the second page quickly. Yeah, operating expenses in about $3,700. I think that's pretty consistent with prior years. And if we are on par to receive the donations I anticipate we would receive around 3,000, we should be fine. Again, if you haven't put in your donations yet and are planning to do so, please send that money in to our PO box, I believe. Alan, if you could just push all the way down, Aaron, all the way down to the bottom, just so, yes. So the PO box, it's Briarcliff Manor People's Caucus of Briarcliff Manor, PO Box 301. That is the address which we received donations. If anybody was planning and didn't have the address, write it down now. Any donations that you could make would be appreciated. Thank you. And I believe the treasurer's report will be put on our website. So if anybody has any questions or wants to look into it further, you can access it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zachary. I'm going to close out the screen now.
Okay.
Okay. I believe, Zach, you have now been treasurer for what, 6 years?
Yes, this is my 6th year.
So thank you again for your service and also for determining that you will complete your term and not seek a re-election position to open up a position for another volunteer for the caucus. So thank you very much for that as well, Zach.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure serving the People's Caucus, and I look forward to seeing what everybody else can do. Thank you.
Never wanted to let you go, was grooming you to be the chair, but we understand with small children, that's a little difficult.
Yeah, maybe in a few years. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Excuse me, everybody. At this stage, I want to brief you on the caucus executive committee nominations and advise you of the process again. It's a 110-year tradition of a nonpartisan election process. It's been followed. The chair has had the responsibility of carrying it out, of making the rules to see that the process is done, to see that it is as open as possible, and that the opportunities for people to provide service are there. So we're doing that once again. Larissa Palmeno is our current vice chair, and she has agreed for the second time to step up to run for chair. The caucus has a long tradition. More than 30 years ago, the caucus executive committee determined that in order to become chair, you had to serve at least one term on the executive committee. And Larissa has done 6 terms now, or this might be her 7th. I could be losing track on that too. And she's been the chair once before. So she will stand for election for chair starting April 1. I will complete my term on March 31. And I normally would have stepped down and opened up for the vice chair's position. But since we have another volunteer, we are dedicating that position to Kathy Bhattacharya. And Zach's position is being dedicated to Kim Izzarelli. So the nominees, Paul Wasserman.
Hello there.
Can you give us the list of nominees?
I am happy to nominate for the term beginning April 1st, 2022, Larissa Wayne Palmino who's the current vice chair and nominee for chair. Number 2, Kathy Bhattacharya for vice chair. 3, Kim Izzarelli for treasurer. And 4, Brian Crowley as secretary.
And we have 2 continuing members at large who are appointed by the chair.
Oh, and yeah, I nominate Clarissa Giosa and Ken Dengla, appointed by the chair to continue as members at large.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Mr. O'Leary, do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I second the entire slate.
Thank you very much. Another long-term resident who we owe a lot to for all his support over the years and his support of the members of the village board as well. So thank you for that, Mr. O'Leary. Are there any other nominations for the caucus executive committee? And I missed this same statement or question with the village trustees. Are there any other nominations for trustee other than those we've introduced already? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. And we'll move on to other business. The next meeting of the caucus will be next Wednesday, and that will be a Meet the Candidates debate format meeting. We request members of the caucus to submit any questions they have on any matters related to the village operations. Whatever the subject matter would be, if you would send it to either myself or any member of the caucus executive committee, we will be prepared to go through a debate format. Each person will have 2 minutes to respond to the question and 1 additional minute to respond to other responses or anything they'd forgotten. They will have an opening statement of 5 minutes and be authorized to make a closing statement as well. And that will take place next Wednesday. The following week will be the special voting election, since it is a contested election. And at the special, at the Meet the Candidates meeting, a resolution will be read adopting the caucus slate as a whole, and they will become the leaders for the following year. Thank you all. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up as other business?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Will
Sure.
the meeting next Wednesday be a Zoom meeting or in person?
It will be a Zoom meeting as well.
Thank you.
Same time at 8 o'clock. And just so that everybody's aware, we had 67 participants today. I think it's an excellent Zoom turnout. We're very pleased with the interest shown by our community and hope it continues. And
Will the
any
link
other
be the
business?
same? Will the Zoom link be the same?
There'll be a new
As this
Zoom
one?
link sent.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
Anybody else?
yes, Mr. Chairman, question for you.
Shoot.
So I think one of the things that I really think makes us proud here living in Briarcliff is the fact that we have this People's Caucus, that it takes the partisanship out of our politics. I'd like to make sure that we continue to maintain that in the strongest possible way. For that reason, I implore the current board of the People's Caucus to really think about having an in-person vote versus an absentee ballot vote. I implore that there's full participation with full integrity preserved of our election process, so as to continue to maintain the confidence of the People's Caucus and preserve the sacredness of our institution. So with that, I ask you guys to consider having a full in-person vote on the 2 weeks from today.
The executive committee plans an executive meeting next week to take up that subject. We had previously decided that due to the COVID situation, that we would do it by absentee ballots, but you are not the only one who has appealed for a meeting. Bill Vesio has appealed for it as well, and we will take it under consideration. The difficulty is people feeling comfortable with being in person, but we'll do what we can. Thank you very much, Roger. Appreciate it. And thank you for your support. Anybody else have any business?
I do. Joan Austin.
Go ahead.
I don't think we should adjourn this meeting without thanking Aaron Stern for his years of service. And you have really kept this thing going, and I think it's flourishing, and it's all due to you. So thank you.
Well, I always told Keith I would pay him back for nominating me, and one day I will. So thank you very much, Joan.
Thank
Okay.
you. Aaron.
Anybody have any other business? Rachel? Was that you? Oh, just an applaud. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion then, seeing no other business, to close the meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, the meeting is officially closed. We look forward to receiving your questions and seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you all. We appreciate your support and your interest. Have a great day, everyone. Stay well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Good night.
Good night.
Aaron, thank you so much for coming out. I know you've been very, very sick and it's